Hi, my name is Toshi Asaka. I'm the founder of the Meishinryu Aiki Jujutsu. Meishinryu is the combination of Steven Segar's Aikido and Aiki of Daito-ryu. We consider Aikido as a Jujutsu with a technique based on the joint locking and striking and throwing. Steven Segar's Aikido is very practical self-defense martial arts, which is based on the traditional Japanese combat skill converted to the modern system. And also, Aiki is the technique that's controlling the body by ki breathing and circular motion, which is very different from Jujutsu. And we Meishinryu teach both of them. When I was kids, I always wanted to study some kind of martial arts. And when I watched Steven Segar's movie and his Aikido, I just, oh, this is the one I want to study. So I had a chance to move to the United States and I looked for his dojo and actually I found it. So I immediately joined his dojo and started learning Aikido under the Haruo Matsuoka sensei, who is the best student of Steven Segar, and also Matsuoka sensei runs the Segar's dojo at that time. With many years of hard training under Matsuoka sensei and many seniors, and I got the black belt, that was also the timing for me to go back to Japan. When I came back to Japan, one of my Aikido friends in the United States introduced me Okamoto Seigo sensei, who is a great master of Daito-ryu Aiki Jujutsu, and he is also known as the best master of Aiki technique. So when I came back to Japan, I joined his Daito-ryu Aiki Jujutsu class, and when I joined, he was shocked because in some technique he just throws me. It just throws me with just by touching with the hand, and I flipped. He just throws me, and I flipped this, by just touching his hand like this. And I was surprised because this is something that we cannot do in Aikido or any kind of other martial arts. And I was not faking, and I couldn't even feel it. But I'm sure if he just throws me and flipped. So. And I realized that this is something that we are missing in Aikido for years, the Aiki technique. Because especially I came from the Steven Segar's Aikido, which is very practical, which makes me kind of a little bit stereotype that every technique has to use the practical way with the muscle or and the kuzushi or movement, so I can throw. But with his Aiki technique, we don't need that. You just touch it and you can just throw. And this sounds strange and sounds like a fake or promising, but it's not actually not. Because I paid it and he throws me, so he didn't pay me to throw, so that's the key. So I was so shocked, and I decided, oh, I want to learn this because this is something to fill out my Aikido skills in some blank space, because many of the Aikido people who trained many years but never reached the O-sensei, the founder, the scale, because he saw somebody with even sometimes in the breathing, but nobody knows the answer. But here in Daitoryu, the Aiki that has been lost in Aikido, but it still exists in Daitoryu. So I wanted to combine both together. So I decided I need to get this, I need to learn this. So I spent years training. I never missed a class. I always be there before the class, and I always train after the class. And I sometimes ask the sensei's question. I always listen hardly and seriously, and whatever he asked me to do, I did it. So years of training, Okamoto sensei finally just said that I knew the Aiki. So, and he asked me to please carry this Aiki technique to the next generation, because he doesn't want to, vanish. He doesn't want to lose his Aiki technique when he dies. So he promised me to carry to the next generation. So I made a promise, and that's the time I left his dojo. I already started my own Aikido dojo even before joining the Okamoto Sensei's Daitoryu dojo. But I didn't really teach the Aiki technique, because Okamoto Sensei was still alive and he's still having his own dojo, and I don't want to mess around his reputation to teach his Aiki. But in 2015, Okamoto Sensei passed away, and I decided now it's a time to combine and start teaching Aiki. So personally I was keep practicing Aiki technique, but not teaching anybody. But since Okamoto Sensei is passed away, he's gone, so I start immediately combine Okamoto Sensei the Aiki to my Aikido, and that's the time I decided to start a new style, which I named it Meishinryu Aiki Jujutsu, which is the combination of Steven Seagal's Aikido and Aiki of Daitoryu. That's the history of Meishinryu. Oh, by the way, Meishin means the character of the Meishin means Mei in Japanese kanji character contain the sun and the moon, which is the head of the gods of Japan. Amaterasu or Mikami, which is the goddess of the sun, and Tsukuyomi, which is the god of moon, and that's both represent the head of Japan. So which means the Mei represent Japan, and Shin means true. So I named this the style name as this is the one of the true Japanese martial arts. That's the Meishin means. So I hope you like the name of the style. Meishinryu, we take Aiki from both Aikido and Daitoryu. The Aiki was originally the traditional secret techniques spread by Takeda Sokaku, and almost the founder of the Daitoryu Aiki Jujutsu. And the founder of the Aikido, the Ueshiba Morihei, or we say O-sensei, trained under Sokaku, and he studied Aiki Jujutsu. However, when he studied Aikido, he changed the Aiki to the philosophy, the way of the harmony. That's why it's called Aikido. It's the way of the Aiki, way of the harmony. So when he started teaching Aikido, so Aiki became a philosophy, not the technique. So Aiki was used to be the technique, but it became the philosophy. The way of the harmony, to make a friend and harmony and the relationship, the good relationship. That's the purpose of Aikido. He changed that Aiki to that idea. That's philosophy. However, because he didn't teach the Aiki as a technique, or he never said this is the Aiki, so it's kind of lost in Aikido for many years. That's why most of the Aikido today, they don't know what exactly is Aikido. However, I love the philosophy, because when when you practice martial arts, you have to also train your mind and spirits to have the novel, thinking. When you practice Aikido and martial arts, you also have to train your heart not to hurt somebody, because when you practice Aikido, sometimes at some point you want to use it, but you're not supposed to use it. You are not supposed to use an Aikido technique to hurt somebody, but save somebody from hurting. That's the way of practicing Aikido. That's why Aikidos and all of the Aikido techniques can be used to control the enemy without hurting them, which is very good and which is very beautiful. You can go crazy with the martial arts technique by breaking bones, or breaking necks, or striking hard, but that's not the way Aikido is. The Aikido is make a friendship, which means even though somebody trying to kill you, but you can become a friend. That's by Aikido technique. That's a good thing. So most of the martial and Aikido technique can be used for hard training without hurting somebody. That's the beauty, and those techniques come from the philosophy of the way of the harmony. And I love this, and this is the very beautiful beauty of the Aikido. That's why, even though it's not Aiki as a technique, but we in Meishinryu, we still take this idea, take this philosophy of Aiki from Aikido. Then what is Aiki as a technique? Since O-sensei changed his Aiki and Aiki technique to his philosophy of Aikido, Aiki has been lost in Aikido, but the Aiki survived in Okamoto sensei and his Daitoryu, of course other Daitoryu as well. And the Horikawa Kodo sensei, who is the sensei of Okamoto sensei, the students from of Takeda Sokaku, he kept this Aiki technique as a technique of martial arts. Aiki is the technique that's based on the controlling the enemy's body by using the key breathing and controlling keep using the key breathing and also the circular motion, and also the the counter reflex motion. That's the key principles of his Aiki. Because this Aiki technique is not based on one's muscle, actually you can, anybody can throw a big guy like the small, like most of like a judo technique or some jujutsu technique. Yes, there is certain, you need a certain amount of the muscle to throw somebody. You can't expect like 10, like a short girl to throw the big, 200-pound guy. But in Aiki, it is possible because Aiki is controlling the enemy's body. It's not based on your muscle, but it's based on their muscle. So which means it's small girl or old guy who is kind of very weak, and can even throw with the one finger, and he can throw like just like Okamoto sensei did it to me, because it's physically impossible using this small finger to throw somebody. But this is just a trigger. I'm throwing the person by using their muscle. So that's the key principle of Aiki. So Aiki is not based on your muscle. That's the key difference between the Aikido Jujutsu technique and Aiki technique. However, because it's so small movement and so quick, it's so hard to see. Sometimes even take the Aiki technique, you can't even understand because it happens so fast and so quick. And when you see, it's almost impossible to see what's going on. That's why when you see the classic videos of the old masters, like of course O-sensei or Okamoto sensei, or like Shioda Gozo, the great master of Aikido, or like Mifune Kyuzo, the great master of Judo, or anybody come from the traditional master, they are very small, but they can throw many people, and that's not the promising or faking, but it's so hard to believe. That's why many people say, oh, it's fake or it's promising. It's people just throwing, to keep the face to their masters, but it's actually not. It's just so small and it's so difficult to understand. because you don't understand, that does not mean that the things is not exist. For example, how many people understand Japanese? How many people who watch this video understand Japanese? I'm not. It's very Japanese is very kind of unique language. Yeah, people know watch this video might understand some Japanese, but it's very difficult to at the perfect level, right? But because you don't understand Japanese, that does not mean Japanese does not exist, right? The same thing, because you don't understand Aiki, which is not really equal to it's not exist, it's a fake. It does exist. You have to believe it. You have to feel it. First of all, and you have to feel it by hands-on training, but at least you have to believe it. This is true. This is happening. That's a very important step to start learning Aikido and Aiki. You can always deny when whatever you say, oh, it's fake, but that's easy. But you have to kind of step in. What if this is true? What if this kind of technique exists? When the small people throw with the one, the pinky or ear, the closing, or with the touching, what if you have to think about? You have to think what if it's true? That's the beginning, and that's very important to study. You can't train something that you are not believing it. You have to believe it. So that's the important things of training Aiki. The benefit of Meishinryu is we established a certain training program to study Aiki, and when you see Aiki kind of technique, it's more like some people train decades of years, and if you're lucky, you can get it like O Sensei or some other judo masters. It's not like that in Meishinryu. Since I understand the principle of Aiki based on the biology and the science and the physics and some other essence, so it's already, there's already the principle is already done. So I made the study program from the beginner to the high level Aiki. So of course, if you want to use Aiki as a real combat situation, you have to train hard and time. But at least the path of learning Aiki is very clear. So I'm sure I make sure that everybody can study Aiki. So which means you don't need any special sense or talent to study Aiki, and Aiki is not really based on your physical strengths, which means you can start from the very young or very old. You can still use it, and you can, this Aiki has no limit, so you can throw anybody, and that's I have the curriculum, program that everybody can study. That's the benefit of the Meishinryu's training. It's also because it takes time. Takes time. You cannot just learn the principle and you can use it next day. Actually, you can do it in a small way, but you can use it as a self-defense technique, because studying Aiki takes time, but we also teach Aikido at the same time. Aikido is a very, very great self-defense technique which you can apply in short time, and also it offers a nice physical training as well. Especially when you are young, you just don't want to just practice without using your muscle. You want to build your muscle to get in your shape, because you're actually exercising it. Martial arts is actually not just the training about the techniques, it's also the training about your your muscles, your body. So that's very important. So that the Aikido part is actually covering the physical strength and the practical self-defense as well. Of course, when you are young, you can maybe your self-defense style based on your maybe Aikido, more like physical strength, because you're in good shape. But of course, everybody get older, and when you get older, you are losing your muscle, you are losing your physical strength. Then you want to shift to the Aiki technique. But because we start both Aiki and Aikido at the same time, by the time when you say, I'm already getting almost like 70s, now I don't have much physical strength, but I still need to protect myself, and I need to be a martial artist as well. So then you can kind of slowly shift from Aikido to Aiki. So which means, let's say you have 20 years of experience in my style, which means you have experience of both Aikido and Aiki. So you don't have to start from when you feel you got old. So it's not like when you, let's say you're using judo or some other martial arts, which sometimes based on the strengths, and you spend years and years of training. By the time when you notice, if you're lucky, maybe you became like a Mifune, but you are not sure, right? But so then you have to find out to throw to somebody without using any muscle, but you don't have much time left to pursue what is the technique that you are not really based on your muscle. But since Meishinryu offers both Aiki and Aikido together, you can always depend on, sometimes you can use the Aikido for the self-defense or Aiki for self-defense, and you both train together, so you can get both good part of it, and you can always decide which one you want to use. That's the benefit of the Meishinryu. As I explained, my Aiki came from Okamoto Sensei of Daitoryu Aiki Jujutsu. And Okamoto Sensei learned his Aiki from Horikawa Kodo Sensei, who is a student of Sokaku Takeda. But there is one person who actually succeeded the all senseis in the Aiki, the Ueshiba Morihei's Aiki, and his name is the Abe Seiseki Sensei. He got 10th degree of black belt directly from the O Sensei, and he is the one who could use the Aiki of O Sensei, because that's why he got the 10th degree of Aikido. Not many people knows about him, and unfortunately he's already passed away a long time ago. But this is a great fortune for me, because Abe Sensei was the sensei of Steven Seagal and Matsuoka Sensei. Both of them are my teachers. So since Abe Sensei was their teacher, I had a great opportunity to train under him, and he showed me a couple of Aiki technique of Aikido. He didn't say this is Aiki, but that is exactly what Aiki the O Sensei's Aiki. I cannot say I learned it, but at least I took Aiki from Abe Sensei, O Sensei's Aiki, so my body knows it. So that was the great opportunity I got. That was great fortune for me. And Abe Sensei's Aiki, and he taught me a couple of things about the importance of breathing and some other things, how to coordinate your ki, power or flow. And that actually helped me to understand Okamoto Sensei's Aiki. So Aiki starts from Takeda Sokaku and spread around many other great Aiki, the Daitoryu masters such as Sagawa Ikiyoshi and Yoshida Kotaro and many other people. And it's spread around. In my line, at least, I have the line from Aiki from the Aikido, Aiki from Ueshiba Morihei Sensei, and also Aiki from Horikawa Kodo Sensei. So at least I have 2 lines together. That's the Meishinryu. And remember, Aiki is not something that you can learn from your books. It has to be hands-on training. You have to feel it, because you can't describe with the book. So at least I have the great opportunity to get hands-on training from Okamoto Sensei and the Abe Sensei, both different Aiki. So my hands knows what the Aiki technique is, which is you cannot study from the book. It has to be hands-on training. Hands-on training. You have to feel it first. That's why it's very important to practice with us, at least me and my students. You have to physically feel it. That's very important for this Meishinryu training or Aiki training as well. That's something actually that's it's very important to carry the culture and history and spirits from all time of Japan or history, because it's not just a book. These days you can write everything on the computer and digitize everything. You can see, you can hear, but this is something you cannot digitize. This is something that you cannot put it on the computer and learn it. You have to train with the people, with the person who carried over, succeeded at the Aiki. That's very important. That's the importance of joining the Japanese martial art, and I believe that's very important to join Meishinryu if you want to feel and study this Aiki technique. Besides my Aiki and Aikido training as a martial artist, I also practice Iai and Kenjutsu, which is Japanese swordsmanship. I have the complete certificate of Iaido. So if you are also interested in studying Japanese Iai or Kenjutsu, real one, not from Aikido, but I actually practice with a real blade sword. So with the certain complete degree. So if you are interested in studying Japanese Kenjutsu, you can also I can put it as a part of the Meishinryu training as well. So you can feel free to ask me to train Kenjutsu if you want to. If you are interested in joining the Meishinryu or study our style, Aiki and Aikido, please feel free to contact me. Check out my website. Feel free to contact me. And unfortunately, I only speak English and Japanese. So if it's either English or Japanese, it would be very nice. And our primary dojo is located in Yokohama, which is nearby Tokyo, Japan. And we have like a first branch dojo at Bogota, Colombia. So if you live in Colombia or any country nearby, you can feel free to go join the Colombia organization of Meishinryu. And also I have a couple of students from in Russia, Germany, and Czech, and some people are interested in joining Meishinryu. They are located in Spain and Denmark and the United States. So if you can feel free to contact me together or do some if you want to start another branch dojo, that's also very welcome. I'd like to spread this Aiki technique, which Okamoto Sensei asked me to carry, and this is great technique. And this is not just a martial arts, but it could be used for any aspects, for any field, not just the martial arts, sports, medical care, which I'm trying to extend right now. Anything, anything could be very helpful, and it's fun. It's very fun. It's not like hurting somebody. Both of the Aikido and Aiki, it's hurting anybody. There's some hard technique in Aikido, but there is nothing hard in Aiki technique. It's just always fun. That's why this is one of the best martial arts techniques that we can offer, or we can even think about it. Because when you use Aiki to your enemy, you can make your enemy laugh. In Aikido, remember, it's make your enemy friends, but in Aiki, you can even make your enemy laugh, because it's kind of hard to explain, but you can laugh because you don't know what's going on in your body, but you are all kind of negative emotion and angry or whatever will gone when you take Aiki, and it just became fun. You never feel angry when you be beaten by Aiki. So Aiki is very fun technique, and I'd like to introduce this to the world. Thank you very much. どうもありがとうございました。